Chris Dodd wants to expand the executive pay restrictions President Obama introduced yesterday. Senator Dodd attaching a provision to the stimulus bill that would prohibit bonuses to the top 25 highest paid employees of financial institutions receiving government funds. The provision would also cut dividends and additional performance-based bonuses. Former Time Warner chairman and CEO Gerald Levin, who was once one of the top paid executives in corporate America, says it is time to change how we value a CEO's worth. Today he's presiding director of Moonview Sanctuary, a holistic healing institute. Mr. Levin, very good to have you.
Neil, it's good to be with you again.
Same here. Let me, before I get into what you're doing now, I do want to talk what politicians are doing now. And they've been arguing we're going to rein in CEO pay, that if you're on the government dime, then you can't earn a lot of dimes. What do you think of that?
Well, I think what's happening, you never know when you're living through a revolution. We think that this is pretty much the government interfering again, and corporations will find a way around it. I think it's time to relook exactly how CEOs are paid. You know, there's usually a compensation consultant paid for by the company that does a comparability study. So if there's another CEO who may not be worth the $10 million he or she is getting, that's what this person will get. And then the chairman of the compensation committee, picked by the CEO, goes along with it.
Right.
And so you have the whole system that doesn't really analyze what does the CEO have at risk, and what personally would that CEO do if the pay was low? Would the CEO leave? Or does the CEO have more of a connection to the corporation?
Let me ask you this. Years and years ago, we tried to correct this problem by not allowing companies to write off salaries in excess of $1 million, and we wanted it to be heavy stock compensation, so they're incentivized to do well and to help the company and the shareholders and all do well. And then that went out of whack. Now the government seems to be saying, that's crazy. But are they going the other way? And are they sending a message to companies not getting bailed out that we're kind of setting pay targets for you as well?
Again, this looks like it's a TARP activity. But I think it's the beginning of this revolutionary president saying it's time to relook exactly how we run our corporations. And I think that's long overdue. Who are our CEOs? How are they selected? Do they live in a bubble of perks? What about boards of directors? Are they asleep or are they paying attention? I mean, obviously something has happened here to put us in a situation that is not healthy for the nation. And my own view is that, this may seem a little odd, the person who's had more scrutiny to get a job happens to be President Obama. He ran for 2 years. There isn't a thing we don't know about him. We know about his family, his character, his values, what his program is. What about something similar for CEOs? And by the way, we're hearing a lot from this president. He's communicating. Where do we hear from the leadership in corporate America about what's going on? You're interviewing the senators. I think that's very healthy. But let's hear from corporate America. I also think, Neil, just as my own personal view, it's time to relook exactly what the modern American corporation is supposed to be doing. Right now, the law says it's totally in the interest of shareholders. How about importing another co-equal standard that companies should operate in the public interest as well? Then maybe they would have paid attention to the housing bubble, mortgages, what's happening in the community. When you lay off people, do you do it with humanity? So it's time to relook things, and unfortunately when times are tough, which they are now, that's maybe precisely the time to reevaluate where we are.
But people are going to hear that, Gerald. I know you're someone who practices what you preach, and you've been through a great deal personally, so you bond with people who've suffered tough times. But now many are concerned that we're going the other way, and that if corporations have to change themselves to look at doing more societal good, to look at the implications beyond just shareholder wealth, then that isn't capitalism, that's essentially socialism. What do you say?
No, I've been watching Fox Business News, of course, and, there's a feeling that, hey, the government is interfering with the mighty hand of capitalism. I don't think we've had pure capitalism for some time. We do have a form of a mixed economy. And all I'm saying is now is the time, let's not use labels. like capitalism or socialism. Let's not bicker from a partisan point of view, liberal or conservative. Let's, the corporation is relatively a modern phenomenon.
But let me answer it, but Gerald, to that end, though, do you think that the message from this White House, certainly from a lot of the CEOs I talk to, is that they don't like us. They don't like wealth. They don't like success. They don't like people who might earn a lot more than they do. And now they're coming at us with guns ablazing.
No, I don't think that's true. I mean, that's easy to say, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of sympathy for that kind of CEO reaction. Just like in the Senate now, the two parties should be going over every part of that bill and coming up with what's best for America. If the CEOs would stand up and say, we're being unfairly targeted, instead of saying that, say, all right, how can we work to really get this country back on track by, having some kind of public-private partnership. It doesn't mean the end of capitalism. It doesn't mean we're not going to compete on a world stage. It just means we've got to have, instead of this nasty fight that seems to be taking
you're right.
place.
But I hear what you're saying, but Joe, real quickly, with crunch your time, but if you were policing my books and you had a track record of being pretty good at it and you've done some pretty historic, monumental things, I don't think I'd mind. But looking at the government assuming that role and then pointing fingers, it would kind of be like me owning a fitness center. No one would buy it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I think people are kind of have the heebie-jeebies about this.
No, I hear what you're saying, and government's ability to manage effectively is certainly in question. But private corporations' ability to manage effectively has also been brought into question. So what do we do about it?
Well, you're right
do we
about
go
that.
back to the old? We don't go back to the old ways, and we talk about some combination of regulation that's smart, and that we pay our SEC people enough so that they can recognize the Madoffs when they're right in front of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, but you're right. The private sector got itself, at least some of its premier players, into this pickle. So you're right, Gerald Levin. I want to steal you back. You're a great guest. I hope all is going well for you. Clearly, it looks like it is. Be well.
It is. Thank you very much.